I'm Pumbaa Orr, and this is my documentary on Shakespeare.
Shakespeare's true identity has been around since the 18th century because few facts have survived the 400 years since his death. Although we know a great deal about his legacy through his plays and sonnets, we know little about the man himself. Unsurprisingly then, a number of conspiracy theories have built up around Shakespeare's true identity. There are a number of theories surrounding the authorship of Shakespeare's plays, but most are based on one of three ideas. Idea 1. The William Shakespeare of Stratford-upon-Avon and the William Shakespeare working in London were two separate people. They have been wrongly connected by historians. Idea 2. Someone called William Shakespeare did work with the Burbage's theater company at the Globe, but did not write the plays. Shakespeare was putting his name to plays given to him by someone else. Idea 3. William Shakespeare was a pen name for another writer. These theories came about because the evidence of Shakespeare's life is insufficient. The plays had to have some sort of author. They didn't just write themselves, but the question is, who was it? If Shakespeare didn't write them, then who did? Now, people argue that Shakespeare wasn't the author for a number of reasons. In 1769, the possibility that Shakespeare was a pen name for someone else is raised for the first time in a book by Herbert Lawrence called The Life and Adventures of Common Sense. Now, the candidates are, of course, William Shakespeare, Edward de Vere. He seems to be the biggest candidate. His early writings echo throughout early Shakespeare's work. He also had the education, class, and experience needed to write the plays under the name Shakespeare. He is also argued to have the reason to use false names since it would be inappropriate for a man of his status to write plays. But he died in 1604, and 10 more plays were written under the Shakespeare name after then. Sir Francis Bacon, an Elizabethan essayist and statesman, thought to be the writer because of his references to the Bible and ancient text and its similarities to plays. Christopher Marlowe thought to fake his murder and move to Italy and send his work to a middleman called William Shakespeare. More suspected authors were William Stanley, Roger Manners, Fulke Greville, Mary Sidney Herbert, and even Queen Elizabeth I. It has also been thought that there were multiple authors, all signing under the same name. Why should Shakespeare be believed as Shakespeare? It's true that no one single document states definitely that William Shakespeare wrote Hamlet and King Lear, but then no such document exists for any other playwright of the time either. Good evidence that William Shakespeare wrote the plays and poems bearing his name is the fact that his name appears on them as the author. For those that ask me why I believe in Shakespeare as the author, I have a simple answer. It's the easiest explanation. The issue has a lot more to it, but Shakespeare remains the easiest of any authorship candidate to defend. Pluralitas non est ponenda sine necessitate, quoted by William of Ockham. Translated from the Latin, plurality should not be posited without necessity. William's razor, simply put, says, all things being equal, the simplest solution is usually the correct one.
Also, in the time of Shakespeare, it was legal, if punishable by death, to speak out against royalty and their decisions, unless done so through art. Shakespeare utilized this, consistently bagging on political affairs. He did it so much, so often, so consistently, that it's extremely unlikely for Shakespeare just to have been a name that several people signed under, not with so consistent of thought. Of course, we will probably never know whether Shakespeare truly was the author or not, but it had to be one way or the other. What do you think?